When will these relentless heat waves end? When will we see meaningful rainfall in the south and the southeast? Well, let's take a look at the bigger picture first of all, because actually the next 7 days, what I can say, what we are confident about, is the next 7 days are going to feel very different compared to the last 7 days. No heat wave on the horizon this week, you may be pleased to hear. But it is still going to be a very warm night tonight, and it's going to feel humid. At the moment, we've got a cold front crossing the country. Another hot day today for many parts of England and Wales. As that cold front moves in and the head of it introduces more humid air, there is the chance of some thunderstorms overnight. You can see the speckled nature of the showers across eastern parts of England. I wouldn't take them too literally, but in some places there is that chance of 30 millimetres or more, but really quite speckled, very, very localised. After that, the cold front moves through and we've got a ridge of high pressure building in. Some showers for the north and west of Scotland, Northern Ireland. A much fresher feel for many places, still rather humid towards the south and southeast, still high 20s. Sunday, an even fresher feel as that ridge of high pressure holds on and another weather system moves in, again likely to bring some rainfall into western Scotland and Northern Ireland predominantly, those areas where we don't need especially a large amount of rainfall. Staying mostly dry where we do need the rain to the south and the east. That's this weekend, a fresher feel, but in those areas where we need the rain, not much useful rain at all. That may change a little, I'm not promising too much here, as we go into next week. Here's the jet stream. It's going to pull in another weather system, again, Monday, Tuesday, bringing much of its rain to the north. But you'll notice by Tuesday it sinks south and the jet stream is also sinking south. And that may cause this front to linger for a time across southern parts of the UK. If that happens, finally, some meaningful rain. Not a great deal. We're talking 5 to 10 millimetres at best. And what we need is weeks of above average rainfall across many parts of England and Wales to make up for the serious deficits. So don't get too excited about this, but it will certainly feel different if it's raining for some of Tuesday in the south and the east, which it may well be doing. But there is some uncertainty about the direction and the track of this weather front. So stay tuned to that. Either way, that moves out of the way. But what you'll notice by middle of next week is low pressure is sitting to the east, high pressure to the west, and the jet stream is diving south. And actually, looking at a variety of different computer models, which is what we do, we don't just look at that one computer model run, we look at lots. For example, we look at the European model, and that's run 51 times. When you look beyond 5 days, that's really important because it shows all the different solutions, all the different possibilities, and where they agree and where they don't agree. So what we can be confident about saying and what we can be less confident about saying. Here's day 5, low pressure, like I say, moving east and eventually sitting to the east of the UK. This is from one run of the European model. High pressure building out to the west. And by the time we get to Saturday, the 22nd of August, little change. We've still got low pressure to the east. We've still got high pressure to the west. And if I click on any one of these other weather model runs, there are subtle deviations in where the low pressure systems sit, and that will be crucial for determining how much rain we get in those areas that are crying out for rain. For example, number 1 of the European model ensemble has a deep low over Scandinavia, but another low sneaking into the southwest of the British Isles. Still got high pressure out to the west, but this, if it happened, would bring some decent rain in the south. Meanwhile, number 3 has it a bit further north. Number 4 further north again, which would bring rain mostly to the west of Scotland. The bigger picture, low to the east, high to the west, that remains consistent that weekend. The subtle difference between all these different model runs, whichever one you click on, is the location of a secondary low that gets swept up in this more general trough of the jet stream. So, bigger picture wise, jet stream dips to the south of the UK, and then we've got this trough of the jet stream just to the east of the UK for the weekend after next. Big ridge of the jet stream, high pressure out in the Atlantic. So that's the broad setup. What's uncertainty is the exact position of any low pressure, and that's crucial for determining how much rain the south and the east gets. Whether it's of scattered showers nature or whether it's of a longer spells of wet weather nature. And we don't just look at these 51 model runs from the European model, we look at even more runs from the American model, the Meteorologist model, and they can be summed up with this graphic that shows the most likely flavours of weather out to the next 2 weeks. Where it's coloured in blue shadings, then it's low pressure close to the UK. Where it's reds, it's high pressure close to the UK. Doesn't necessarily mean, with these reds becoming more dominant from weekend after next, that it will be high pressure slap bang over the UK. The broad signal appears to be, if I click on Saturday the 22nd of August and look at what comes up, the broad signal continues to be high pressure to the west, low pressure to the east. That's a significant change compared with this week. It would bring in cooler north to northeasterly winds, so no heat wave. It would also mean that showers and longer spells of rain are more likely to the east and the south, as I've just mentioned. But this isn't the only weather pattern. There are other weather patterns that are signalled. One of these, for example, has low pressure slap bang over the UK, bringing longer spells of rain, more lively showers. And another one, the third most likely, has low pressure further to the east, high pressure to the northwest of the UK, bringing dry weather for many parts, but showers running down the coast. So those are the possibilities the weekend after next. In other words, we've got the jet stream dipping over Scandinavia, an increased chance of showers, longer spells of rain to the east and the south, drier weather emerging to the northwest. And finally, just to summarise that, I find these graphics from the European model useful. It's quite a technical graphic. It shows the 500 hectopascal height anomaly compared with climate for a whole week of weather. And this is showing the final week of August, but it can be summed up in very simple terms. Where we've got blue colouring, you're more likely to get low pressure at the surface. Where we've got these oranges, you're more likely to get high pressure. And this is showing for the final week of August exactly what I was just talking about. We've got lower pressure to the east and south of the UK. Now, if that lower pressure to the south and east of the UK comes off, you're more likely to get showers, longer spells of rain in the south and the east, turning drier in the northwest. In other words, the final week of summer, the polar opposite of what we've seen through summer so far. But whether it delivers the amount of rain that would make a difference, or whether it's more showers and less useful rain, that is a key source of uncertainty. As we go into September, then we've got higher pressure signalled more to the south, lower pressure towards the north. This is the first week of September, and this is the second week. Again, a signal for higher pressure to the south, lows going more to the north and northwest. These are weak signals. As is typical at the time of year, they are weak signals. But to just summarise what we do know about the next few weeks, it's going to feel much cooler through the next 7 days. Temperatures for many returning closer to average. There'll be a bit of rain during the middle of the week in many places, but not enough. Then a showery low pressure likely to sit close to the UK for the following weekend, and the final week of summer could deliver some rain to the south and the east, with drier weather returning to the northwest. Then back to something we've become a bit more familiar with this summer, drier towards the south, more changeable towards the north for the start of September.